to save the day. From kitchens to bathrooms, big or small, give Robbins a call and we'll fix it all. Call a Robin. Tweet, tweet, tweet. Call a Robin. Tweet, tweet, tweet. Call a Robin if you need your plumbing fixed just right.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Robbins, and I am the president and CEO of Robbins Plumbing here in Phoenix, Arizona. And I want to cover with you guys today toilet installations, and are they DIY friendly? Sometimes, absolutely sometimes. If you're a weekend warrior, but I will give you the warning. Do not take this on as a weekend warrior on a Sunday, a Saturday, or a holiday. And there's a couple reasons why that I want to cover with you, because it's not just a toilet installation. There are some things to consider before even purchasing a toilet. And they are bullet points of decisions that you need to make to purchase the right toilet. And as my husband consistently points out to me, the toilet is a throne that could last you 20 years, and you should take this seriously. Good Lord, man. It's just a toilet, right? No, apparently it's not. It's a place where you conduct business, you scroll Facebook. Like, it's a decision where you're gonna spend a third of your life. So, things to consider before purchasing that toilet. 1, measurements. All toilets are not created equal, and not all measurements are created equal. When we do a consultation with a client that they would like a new toilet, and it's going to be very hard for me not to say water closet, because that's a technical term, but measurements are important. How far is the flange from the wall? Is it 12-inch rough? Is it 10-inch rough? Another measurement to consider is the bowl size. Is it going to be round or elongated? Because if you get, and you have a round, but you want it elongated, but now you can't open the door, depending on the size of your bathroom, that kind of thing. There's also the measurement to consider of height on the toilet tank itself. Is there a countertop over the top of your toilet? And in the trade, that's referred to as a banjo. So there are lots of measurements to consider just for the purchase of the toilet. So do you want a 15-inch height toilet, a 17-inch height toilet? It's a 10-inch rough-in, it's a 12-inch rough-in, and then what is that tank height depending on what's available, and is there a counter above there? Does it need to be a low boy? That kind of thing. A toilet purchase is not just a toilet purchase. You don't just walk into a hardware store and pick it off the shelf like you would with a bucket of chicken. That is not how this works. It's your throne, apparently for 20 years, like my husband says. So the other thing to consider is the cosmetics of the toilet. What do you want it to look like? And there are a lot of cosmetic things. If you look up pictures of just toilets or water closets, you're going to see a lot of options there. Color, style. Do you want it to look, more of the vintage or modern? Like, there are so many things cosmetically to consider in the purchase of this toilet. These are all things that my technicians go over with you, because it's your throne for 20 years for you to conduct business on and scroll Facebook. So another thing to consider is, are you going to purchase a 1-piece or a 2-piece toilet? And quickly roughing that up for you, what does that mean? A 1-piece toilet, it's solid cast. It's all one piece, except the lid comes off of the tank, so you can make repairs. So it means that there's not a tank to bowl. That means there's not a tank connecting to a bowl, so there's not parts there that could be separated. This is something that we typically recommend for our clients. One, it's pretty nice cosmetically. but it could be something that's beneficial to your household for the leaners. Someone who's sitting there conducting business and they tend to lean back. That can put a lot of strain on the connection from that tank to that bowl. So that's definitely something to consider in the equation of what kind of toilet are you going to purchase. The other consideration is skirted. Do you want a skirted toilet or not a skirted toilet? Skirted, ultimately, when you Google that, it's going to mean that there are smooth sides on the base of that toilet going to the floor. And there are some major benefits to that, but not necessarily to the DIYer. This is that benefit where it's smooth on the outside, which makes it insanely easier to clean. It makes it more cosmetic, but as far as a DIY installation, a lot more challenges are involved because now you don't have just toilet bowls connecting to a flange. It revolves typically drilling into the floor and setting a pattern based on what the manufacturer sent for the base of that toilet. So it's more challenging to install a skirted toilet, but man, they come with some major benefits. So something to consider if you're that weekend warrior. The other thing to consider when choosing a toilet, I'm just still on choosing a toilet because this is a thing, right? So is how is that toilet going to flush? Handle choice is also a thing. So you have, of course, left and right handle. And when you go to the hardware store, that's actually not a choice. Typically for us as suppliers and installers, we have a lot more options that are off the shelf. But the other thing is push button. So at the top, and push button is becoming more and more popular. The pros to that, where most clients I find are looking for that feature, is that they want to save water. Awesome, it's Arizona, it's a desert. We should save water. One of the downfalls if you're a DIYer is when that toilet fails, the components of that, adjusting it and making sure things work correctly, is not usually a DIY project. The other thing to consider when you do a push button toilet, one of the things that we go out on often, oh my goodness, is the toilet's backed up. Push button for most homes should be used in a master bedroom, not where guests can be, because they don't know how to use it and they have inadvertently made a stoppage because they didn't know that out of that push button there's two options for number one business and number two business. And it doesn't make sense if you're trying to save water and conserve energy to have to flush 2 or 3 times or have to pay a plumber to come out and embarrass your guest. So those are things to consider. As those become more popular, I don't think that's going to be a problem anymore, but we're definitely a bit from there, considering the calls that we take and the things that we take care of. Something else to consider is the gallons per flush. When you're standing there in the aisle and you're like, oh my gosh, there are all these toilets, because like I said, toilets are not created equal, you're going to find that there's 1.6 gallons, there's 1.2 gallons, there are 0.9 gallons. Really consider in that equation what those gallons mean to you and your household. If you already have a toilet that is not flushing well and that kind of thing, it might not be the best thing to go, hey, let's go 0.9 gallons and think that you're going to save a bunch of money or you're going to save the planet, because ultimately what ends up happening is you flush 2 or 3 times to do the job that a 1.6 gallon could have done once. So before you purchase something that's low flush like that, check out the reviews. What I have discovered is people are in a very big hurry to trash a product online if it doesn't work correctly. They're not as quick to, hey, this was awesome. But if it wasn't working correctly, they'll let you know because they're frustrated. So check out those reviews before you purchase something that's super low flush and make sure it performed like the box said. Another thing to consider is flush valve size. A flush valve is typically going to come in 2 inches or 3 inches, and engineering is everything when it comes to a great flush. So that's also something to consider. When you're looking at that box and it says it's going to do this, a larger flush valve size will flush better. And some homes need a better flush than other homes. And that's as tactfully as I can put that. The other thing to consider is the trapway. What is a trapway? Well, when you're looking at your toilet, it is what looks like the foot at the base of your toilet. I think it looks like a foot. And it's that casting porcelain to that trapway. Well, it's really quite small. So when it hits and it goes through, it flushes out of the bowl and it comes down, well, then it pinches. And then it pinches again and then goes down. So trapway size is important, but even something more to consider is glazing that trapway. A lot of toilet stoppages end up happening because that trapway builds up with your business. So a trapway that's glazed is going to behave a lot more like a pan, words, I'm looking for words. What is it? Non-stick. Yes, thank you. A non-stick pan. A non-stick pan, when it's glazed, is going to be, so things aren't going to build up as quickly. You're going to have a lot less stoppages, a lot less plunging, and you're going to be able to handle that business a whole lot better. So that's something to consider, because if it's a rough surface that hasn't been glazed, everything is going to stick to it and stick to it and stick to it, and you have to plunge to assist. No one wants to plunge. I don't want to plunge. The other thing to consider, now we're done with purchasing a toilet, but let's consider the installation of a toilet. And this is where I see my weekend warriors. I'm a weekend warrior. Are you kidding me? There are some things I really suck at, but there are some things I'm like, oh yeah, I killed that. So weekend warriors, things to be aware of. Flooring. If your flooring is not in good condition, it's something to be mindful of before you pull that toilet on Memorial Day weekend. It's also something you should consider when you're looking at that flooring. Did that flooring go up to the toilet base, or was it done correctly and did it go to the flange? And the flange is where the toilet connects to your drain system. But if that flooring is going up to your toilet, I need you to stop. The toilet purchase you made is probably wrong, so you have a couple of options here. You can redo your flooring. Yes, redo your flooring. But you can also buy a toilet that has a wider base at the bottom that would cover that footprint that is left behind when that toilet comes up, and it doesn't go all the way to the flange. But then you're going skirted, you're doing the whole deal. But the flooring should be to the flange. That is something that was done incorrectly and should be definitely rectified. The only other thing to consider is the condition of your flange. A lot of clients will pull a toilet from the floor and go, hey, I'm going to do this, but then the flange is in really bad shape. Even poor shape. You should not connect a new toilet to a flange that is questionable. So if you are seeing rust at the flange of your toilet, if you are seeing roots at the flange of your toilet, if your flange wiggles, moves, no, because what you're going to find in the future is a poorly connected toilet that can lead to flooding if there's a stoppage, that kind of thing. And then a pro DIY tip, if you're going to do this on your own, I salute you. But do not go cheap on two things. Wax ring. Don't go with a wax ring. Go with a sandy seal. Second, do not connect back to that toilet with a supply line that has a plastic end on it. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. I will literally slap one of my guys in the back of the head, Gibbs style, for doing that. Do not connect a supply line with a plastic end back to your new toilet. Invest I don't know how much it is, but get a metal supply line with a metal nut at the end to connect, and make sure that instead of just a wax ring, get a sandy seal. They're a bigger investment, but it's 20 years on your throne to do business and check Facebook. Just saying. So if you find yourself in a position, hey, oh my gosh, buying a toilet is more than I knew it would be. Yep. You can definitely reach out to us. That's what we're here for. Give you a great consultation for that. If you pull that toilet on a weekend warrior, I salute you. You got stuck. We're here for you. We're 24 hours. We got this. This is what they do in their sleep. They can't spell, and then math is hard, but plumbing is their thing. They got this. So if you find yourself stuck in that DIY project and you're in the Phoenix area, definitely reach out to us. It's 623-486-4657 to reach us 24 hours a day. Or you can, of course, email us at info@robinsplumbing.com. And we even have a chat box on our website, so you can reach out to us there too. Good luck with your project.